Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at installing the TecNiq SteelHead LED Work Lamps. And this is going to be the 4 diode in black aluminum, also available in white aluminum. Now here we have our light powered up, and you can see the 1100 lumens powering a pretty good area here, roughly about 6 to 7 foot of spread in that spot pattern. I'm about 15 foot away from the light, and it's pretty concentrated in one spot. Now if you are looking for a little bit more of a wider illumination of an area to really illuminate a whole workspace rather just than a concentrated area, we also have a flood option available, and that's going to really spread that light out rather than pointing that beam in a small area like we see here. Now the lights are actually sold individually, but they work great as pairs, or you can even pair up multiple lights, creating a bunch of different concentrated workspaces. So with the two of them, you can actually focus a lot of power at one spot, or you can actually move them individually to create multiple work spots or entertainment spots as well. The great part about the pedestal style base is you're easily able to adjust to really get that light dialed in exactly where you need it to be. So you can really get that light perfectly directed in multiple different areas, as we see with this pair. So having a closer look at the light with it powered off, you can see the 4 diodes that create that light pattern in the spot. Now this is going to have a nice aluminum outside fixture. It's going to be in a black powder coat finish, and in conjunction with the actual lens, this is going to be waterproof, so it's going to hold up to the elements, so you can mount this on the outside of your camper or truck and not have to worry about it breaking down, getting water in here and destroying the light. Now a few other things that make this nice and robust is going to be the inside has a military spec circuit board, so it's going to make sure that you don't have any loose connections inside of the light itself. Once you're going off-roading and you have some of those vibrations and rattling going along, the light's not going to lose its connection. Also molded into the outer housing is going to be this nice heat sink, so that's going to disperse heat, allowing these to be protected from thermal elements. You'll also see the pedestal style bracket here is really easy to mount up, as it just has one bolt with a carriage bolt style to really get this in place. So if you have your own bracket, you can use that, or we have a bunch of different brackets available for your application, or you can actually just simply mount this on directly to whatever you need to, whether it be the rooftop or a headache rack or a front push bar, whatever it may be. And once you have it mounted up, adjusting this to whatever angle you may need it to be is going to be awesome. So installation is going to be quick, and let's just take a look at that so you can get your light set up. Now we're going to be installing this 6 LED floodlight, but if you pick up a different variety of LED lights, they're going to have the same 2-wire installation. So following this is going to be pretty much identical to what you'll be doing with your LED light. To begin your install, you're going to want to find a place to tie into power and ground. Now this particular cable has a distribution panel that has a switch already into it, so we're going to be using this. But if you don't have a distribution panel, there's plenty of switches available here, and that's going to allow you to turn that on and off and cut that power whenever you don't want those lights to be on. But you are going to need to tie into that power of your battery as well as the negative to get these to work. Now we already have our switch installed, but if you were to wire up your own switch, here's an idea of kind of how it's going to look. You're going to have your 2 wires coming from your battery, your positive and negative, and those are simply going to tie into the same Spade connector as your wiring that's going to go to the light itself. And really your switch is just a disconnect. Doing this is going to allow that power to actually create a full circuit, and when you close that off, it's going to shut it off here. So pretty easy. So if you need to wire up your switch, here's a nice diagram on how to do that. Then from your switch, you're going to want to run a positive and negative duplex wire to wherever your mounting location be. So on our camper, we're actually putting it on the back here on our Rhino rack. If you have a truck, maybe you're putting it on your headache bar or your front push bar, whatever it may be. So make sure that you have enough wire to be able to run there. And if you need to pick some up, we actually have some here at eTrailer. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is determine how you want to mount your light. And here we actually have a heavy duty bracket specifically for the Rhino rack that goes in the track here, which is really nice. Now you may not have this identical rack, which there's plenty of other options available for a mounting bracket, and really all you need to do is make sure that this is actually run through and clamped on. You can see I've actually added a washer here just for a little bit of extra bite. So if you were mounting it on to a solid surface, maybe the roof here, you could actually just drill down, run that through, and make sure that that tightens up. This is a carriage bolt style up top on the bolt, so that's nice. It's going to hold it in place as we tighten it down. So on the back side, you're going to see we have 2 wires coming off here, so we're just going to match our corresponding wires. Black is going to be our positive, white is going to be our ground. Now we're going to be using Spade connectors just because we're going to be test fitting quite a few lights here. It's going to make for a quick and easy disconnect to put the next light on. But if you're routing this and it's going to live outside the vehicle, or any of the wiring is going to be outside the vehicle, I highly suggest picking up some heat shrink butt connectors. And these are really nice because once you actually crimp these down, you take a heat gun, these are going to cinch around, creating a watertight seal, so that way your connections aren't going to get corroded or get brittle over time. These are going to hold these in place really nicely. And then your next step is going to be running some wire loom or something to keep these wires protected, just for an added clean look. It's kind of up to you. If you can tuck these wires into something to hide it, that's going to be great, but you're going to want to make sure that they are tucked away so things don't catch them and they stay protected. Now once you have your wires connected, really all you need to do is turn the power on to the actual camper or the vehicle, hit your switch, and then also adjust where you want this to be. Now, it's going to be pretty simple here. You can see that it's going to be able to pivot 360 degrees as well as rotate a bunch of different angles. So really getting it dialed in to where you're going to be using it. So, you know, if you're hanging outside your camper and you want this to kind of flood out where you're going to be hanging out, that's no problem. You just simply aim your light beams and then just tighten these up, and then you'll have it fixed exactly where you want it. And that was a look and install of the TecNiq SteelHead LED work lamps in black aluminum as well as white aluminum.